Like, share, and subscribe to my channel as I continue to provide you with trusted information for you to use to make a decision. Today, I want to look at Dr. Andrew Holness versus Mr. Mark Golden. I'm saying not understanding the weaknesses of your opponent will be your downfall. I have been examining both political leaders, and I think both men are astute scholars because one is a lawyer and one is a doctorate in law and governance. Of course, they are both astute gentlemen. But I do not think the People's National Party currently understand the weaknesses of Dr. Holness. And because they don't understand the weakness of Dr. Holness, they will not be able to address any challenges and actually be a problem and be a challenge to him to win the local government election. It's clear that the JLP fully well understand the weakness of the PNP and they exploited the weakness of the PNP. So therefore, they will actually succeed. Remember, I said to you before that not understanding the weaknesses of your opponent will be your downfall. The PNP has not spent enough time to have a group of persons, researchers, examine the weaknesses of Dr. Holness, the weakness of members of the JLP, and all the members in terms of those who are going up and those who are currently in MP position, those who are currently councillors, understanding their weaknesses, understanding their flaws. And by not knowing that, they are unable to address some of the very things that clearly are staring them in the face because they don't understand the weakness of their opponent. And by not understanding the weakness of their opponent, they will not be able to address many things that are going on because you cannot hit somebody on their strength. Let me repeat that. You cannot hit somebody on their strength. You have to hit somebody on their weakness, particularly in politics. And clearly, by not grasping, researching, understanding, having a comprehensive knowledge about the weakness of Dr. Holness as well as his cabinet members and those persons who are going up as caretakers, the People's National Party will not be able to host the GLP from power because they're not going to host them based on their strength. They're going to have to host them based on their weaknesses. And it's clear to me that what is happening in the People's National Party, they are responding to what the GLP is doing. And of course, the GLP is actually doing the things that they are strong in. And by responding to what the GLP is doing, what it automatically means is that the GLP is setting the tone for the discussion. The GLP is setting the tone for what they want the people to understand. The GLP is setting all of that tone as against the PNP looking at their weaknesses and pointing out their weaknesses and showing the flaws and fallacies of whatever is going on. That is currently not happening. And that's a clear indication that the GLP understand the weaknesses of their opponent and exploiting the weaknesses of their opponent, whereas that is not the case for the People's National Party. Now, this is not only for politics, it goes in everything. If you are going to be doing boxing, let's take boxing, and you want to be successful, you have got to understand your opponent, particularly your opponent's weaknesses. Your opponent's strengths are going to be there, obvious, and you can't play to your opponent's strength because your opponent's strength is going to be what he's going to use to destroy you. It has to be weaknesses of your opponent. And you can look at the matter related to Riddick Bowe and Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson, Evadne Holyfield and Mike Tyson. They defeated Mike Tyson because they understood his weaknesses. They didn't understand, they didn't spend time to try to understand his strength because his strength is what going to use to destroy them. So you have to understand the person's weaknesses. And it happens in every facet of life. Understand the weaknesses of your opponent is going to be the key to succeeding against your opponent. The PNP is not spending the time to understand the GLP, particularly their weaknesses. And by not spending time to understand their weaknesses, the PNP will always be playing second fiddle to the Jamaica Labour Party. The PNP need to understand, because I'm hoping I'm sending a message to all those persons who are proponents, hardcore supporters, and lovers or sympathizers of the People's National Party, dating back down to Michael Manley, that you need to understand clearly that you must understand the weakness of your opponent. The PNP, the People's National Party currently is not spending time to understand the weaknesses of Andrew Holness and his administrators. And by not spending the time to understand their weaknesses, they can put in place strategies and programs and policies to what? To highlight those and come out as a what? A victor. Currently, what they are doing, they are trailing Mr. Andrew Holness by responding to his strengths. Of course, Mr. Andrew Holness is actually playing his strength and playing his strength based on understanding the weaknesses of the People's National Party. It's clear to me that a number of the things that are done by Mr. Andrew Holness, Dr. Andrew Holness, are master strokes in terms of statesmanship in understanding what some of the challenges are. It's clear that Dr. Holness would have actually looked at the blueprint outlined and given by Mr. PJ Patterson and is using that blueprint in terms of winning election, in terms of statesmanship, in terms of the craft, in terms of understanding his opponent and using it against the PNP. And the irony to all of this is that the PNP draft the blueprint and is not following the blueprint. It's similar to what happens in Jamaica when Lee Kuan Yew came to Jamaica, looked at Jamaica's blueprint, went to Indonesia, and has made Indonesia a powerhouse. It appears to be a factor in Jamaica that we always draft blueprints and therefore shelve them and not seem to understand that blueprints are just there as guides. And if you're going to be drafting a blueprint, it must mean that something is inside of there that you can use to exploit and to use for your advantage. No, the PNP draft the blueprint as how to win election, how to structure things, and that blueprint is now being followed by the JLP. And the PNP is now trying to understand what the JLP is doing, and what the JLP is doing is using the same blueprint that they developed, they built. Now, if the PNP continue to go by the script, the blueprint script that is being used by the Jamaica Labour Party, they'll never defeat Dr. Andrew Holness. Because the blueprint that Dr. Holness is using is the blueprint developed by the PNP, particularly by the retired former Prime Minister, Mr. P.J. Patterson. Now, where Jamaica is, that Jamaica is at a point where we do not need any one party to have power for too long, because you and I are fully aware that absolute power corrupts. And absolute power corrupt, absolutely. So we do not want an individual or a group of persons, or whether it's a party individual or a Christian entity, to be in power for too long, because that will actually corrupt them. So we're going to have the JLP using a blueprint developed by the PNP, and the PNP does not recognize that they need to use the right approach to addressing the challenges that are going on now and go back to their blueprint, then we're going to have a problem, because all they are doing is subscribing to their very own blueprint that is being used to destroy them. What do you have to say about what I'm thinking about, what I'm forwarding, what I'm dissecting? Let's have a discussion on that. Let's not have a discussion that's going to be a monologue or a bias. You listen to what I have to say, put forward your points. I'll agree or disagree, and I'll give you my perspective as well as possible to ask you a question. I'm going to put in a video that I want you to watch as well to sort of see what Mr. Holness' vision is. And the vision that Mr. Holness has was developed by the blueprint of Mr. Patterson. And this is what is making Andrew Holness the victor and going ahead in this race. The PNP needs to understand this. Share this video with someone. Like it. Let me hear what you have to say. I want a discussion, a robust discussion on this one, because I think that by not understanding the weaknesses of your opponent, it is going to be your downfall.